What's up, party people? It's KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Speaking of entertainment, today on the program, I have the Forensics. Well, at least 2 out of 4 of the members of the Forensics Band. Check them out. Forensics Band. It's probably the easiest way to find them online. I got their Instagram and their all the various links in the show notes below. But you're going to get to hear from Liam, the lead singer and rhythm guitarist, and Daniel, the drummer of the band. So stick around for that. This week's shows, I have 2 public shows. I will be at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas on Friday night for the Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam. Yes, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show. I play the music. It has the vocals dropped out of it. The words are up on the screen, and you get to sing. You get to be the star of the show, at least for a few minutes. All I'm doing is pressing buttons behind there. Yeah, I'll play some background music for you between karaoke singers, and I'll play a little music to get you up on the dance floor. But for the most part, you're providing the entertainment for us at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. So come and bring it Friday nights. I'm usually there on Friday night. From 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the AM. They got a full bar. The kitchen's open. Pool tables. They got a pool tournament on Friday night. So if you want to try your hand at playing pool and possibly make some money while you're doing it, you come and check out the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. R-A-B. And then on Saturday, I'm at, the Cool Pool Sports Grill up in Fairfield Bay. At least 2 times out of the year, every year for the past, almost 10 years, I've been at Fairfield Bay Cool Pool Sports Grill, starting the summer and then finishing the summer. And I think a few years, I was even there on New Year's Eve. So that was kind of fun as well. But we're starting off the summer. We're kicking the summer off right this weekend at the Cool Pool Sports Grill on Saturday night. I'll be there, I think it's 7 until at least 10, if I'm not mistaken. I'll be there early. You know, I always get there early and set up. They kick all the little kids from around the pool, and then it's adult night at the Cool Pool Sports Grill. The first year that I did it, it was inside the Cool Pool restaurant, the cafe, but that was just too small. So what they did is they kicked out the kiddies after 7 o'clock, and told them to scram, go find something else to do. Mommies and daddies want to play. And I spend some time out there, and they do some karaoke. It's a video dance party, karaoke jam. We got some talented people, and it's always a good time at the Cool Pool Sports Grill up in Fairfield Bay. So be there. Come, just spend the whole day. You can spend the whole day there with your kids, and then put them up in the hotel room or the condo or wherever you can hide those kids away, because the night belongs to us, my adult friends, at Cool Pool Sports Grill on Saturday night. So come and check it out. Come be there. All right, that's enough intro. Let's get into it with the boys from the Forensics Band. Now, I got them on a new interface. Hopefully, I've edited this right. The audio version is going to be great. That's no problem. But the video version is on my YouTube page, youtube.com/user. Skype is gone. So I tried to use Microsoft Teams. It looked okay. I'm going to see if I can take out some of the white background. So if you're watching this and there's hardly any white background there, then I've done it right. I fixed it. But if there's a little white background, hey, forgive me, okay? All right, let's get them. I got Liam and Daniel from the Forensics. Let's Microsoft team them now. Oh, my goodness, people want to see the Dan. That's what they want to do. They want to live and breathe the Dan and the Liam. And 2 out of 4 ain't bad. You know, if you got the Forensics Band It's a 4-piece, right? And a biscuit.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And I got 2 out of the 4. What happened to the other 2? Did they say, "Oh, it's Sunday. We have other things to do"? Did they break off for their Sunday rounds? What's going on? How come I only have 2 of the 4 members of the forensics bands?
One of them's working, and then the other one has camera issues.
Camera issues. I have camera issues, but it's because of the look of my face. Okay. I'm not camera ready. If I were to be an actor, no, I'd have to be maybe maybe like a voice actor. Perhaps I could be a voice actor, but I think I stutter a little too much. But it's not about me. It's about you. I have the members of the forensics in my face. I'm so excited. Okay. First thing is, hey, welcome to the show. Nice to have you. But I like that your YouTube is set up the way that it is, because it gives me 2 sides of who the forensics are. It gives me the hard side when you're playing at the Grand in front of thousands of people, could be hundreds of thousands of people. I can only see the stage and a few people. So we're going to go ahead and tell the audience that it was 50,000 people out there while you were playing at the Grand. And then you have the softer side when you play in the soft box and you're playing the acoustic sets, and it's a little more intimate. Looks like you're sitting on a couch and maybe you have 12 people around you. Maybe you have no one around you. But let me know. All right. I've made contact. The first person that I was told that was going to be on is Daniel Lewis. And I have Daniel Lewis and Liam what?
Riley.
Liam Riley. Well, tell me a little bit about yourselves. I mean, there's only so much you could find online about the forensics. And I'm glad that I found the right forensics, because if you look up forensics band, the first thing is there are many bands named forensics. I think I have the genuine article, though. Like I said, first thing, you're a 4-piece rock band, and that is standard issue. When you're going to a show, you need 3 pieces, I guess, is the bare minimum for a rock band. But you add that extra guitar and you add that extra flavor, that extra oomph. You got the rhythm section, the drums and the rhythm guitar and the bass, and then you got that lead. So tell me, okay, Daniel, what part do you play in this band? Who are you? Who is a Daniel?
I do drums and backing vocals. That's my job.
All right. And Liam, same question. Who is a Liam?
Singer, songwriter, rhythm guitarist. Yeah, a few different roles in the band. Manager, gig organizer, mother to 3 boys in the rest of the band. Doing everything, getting us all where we need to be.
That is a lot of roles for one person to play. Once you get to this level, you need a little help to get you to the next level. I know that Big PR, Big GPR is the ones that brought us together. I'm kind of excited to be affiliated with them, kind of in a roundabout kind of way. I'm not partnered up with them by any means, but they ask me sometimes to interview and to get some of the people on their roster to see if we can get some more ears on the sounds that they're putting out. And I'm very happy that I got chosen, I got picked, honored to be a part of this, because I put my ears on your sounds and I enjoyed your sounds. It is rock and roll. And and from what I'm seeing on the YouTube, you've been together at least 2 years. But in those 2 years, even that #1 video 2 years ago, you were gelling. You must have been practicing since you were in the womb, I guess.
Yeah, we've all been. I think we've all been musicians for quite a while. Although the band is relatively well. To be fair, it's not too new. We were formed as a band in 2021, and then we got a new bass player. So we switched. Our old bass player left the band, and we got a new bass player in a couple of years ago. But we all get on really well as good friends. So that makes it really easy to gel when we're on stage and stuff like that. So yeah, it's quite easy really being on stage with each other.
So are bass players disposable? You can just throw them away, interchange them, just exchange them for another one, and like go into the local market and you I need to pick up a bass player, and you find one that maybe has his tongue sticking out, because bass players have to have that bass face, really stand out. It's usually the crazy one that's the bass player. Would you describe your bass player as that, or a little more subtle?
It's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Exact opposite. But no, Liam used to play bass actually. That's how me and Liam met at, we used to play for another band in Preston called 3 Day Weekend, and that's how we kind of got connected in that way. And yeah.
Well, he's
moved on. He's matured and gone on to rhythm guitar.
It's been my experience, and I've talked to several bands, but the bass player, it feels like sometimes the bass player is a guitarist that couldn't find another way in, or it was a guitarist, hey, can you play bass? Okay, throw your guitar away. We need a bassist. It's a guitarist that wants to break free. I don't know of that many people. Well, I don't. In my experience, I've never met anyone that wants to grow up to be a bass player. Although bass is part of the rhythm section, bass and drums together are the ones that are keeping the groove, keeping the people moving. You as the lead singer are telling the story, Liam, but Daniel and your bassist, man, I'm going to forget his name, and I have already forgot his name. Your bassists are going to be the ones that keep the people dancing and bopping their heads. Am I getting this right? I'm not a rock star like you.
Yeah, no, you pretty much bang on. No, yeah, our bass player Paul, he's unbelievable at what he does, and I feel like me and Paul have a good connection. We know what's what and what's to do and what works together. So yeah, it's just nice and fun. You pretty much bang on, to be honest.
Well, I mean, standard interview questions. Let's go back to the beginning. And I'm kind of an Anglophile. I like things all things UK, all things British, English stuff. Whenever I get to talk to people from across the pond, it makes me feel good, because I appreciate the television, the entertainment that comes out of there. I'm a Whovian. My whole family is Whovians. My wife is probably the most Whovian ever. She's going through and watching all of the Doctor Who's from beginning to end. She's on Doctor number 4, and I think there's 1,200 episodes. And Doctor number 4 was the one that I grew up with. Tom Baker. That's mine. I'm from back in the 80s. That's back in the 1900s, way before you were born. But I remember, that was my first foray into English television or entertainment, and of course Bond, and the Beatles, and just everything that's come out. The new wave. Because I grew up in the 80s, the new wave is where I'm living, with Duran Duran and Frankie Goes to Hollywood and some of those people. But I like to know, and I know I'm probably going to pronounce it improperly. Lancashire, is that right?
Yeah.
That's it.
I pronounced it properly. Are you all from Lancashire?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lancashire is like, how to describe it? It's like a county. So there's different towns within that county, and it's very close to it's just outside of Manchester, but very, very close to Liverpool as well. So Manchester and Liverpool are like 45 minutes away. So we're kind of like in the middle of both of that. So that's kind of had quite a big impact on the music that we like, because we like bands from Manchester, we like bands from Liverpool, like the Beatles and stuff like that. So being really, really close to both those really big cities that have such a big influence on British music and British culture, has really influenced the band. So yeah, we're very proud of where we come from.
Well, I know about Lancashire, and but the give me a walking tour of Lancashire. Give me okay. Let's go over the names of the pubs. That always interests me. Is how. Oh, there's a rock and a stone over there. So guess what the name of that pub is? A Rock and a Stone. And what's the difference between a rock and a stone anyway? But tell me about the life in Lancashire. Is the Grand in Lancashire, and the Softbox, is that also in that area? Is that where you live, and that's where you kind of keep your gigging to?
So the Grand is in a town called Clitheroe, which is like in East Lancashire. We're all there or thereabouts from a city called Preston, which is like West Lancashire. But we mainly gig around. The most gigging we do is in like Lancashire, Preston, Manchester, Liverpool, that kind of thing. But yeah, we're all in and around Lancashire, and there's in Preston, sorry. And it was okay, but it's getting a lot better. The scene in Preston now. There's a lot more bars opening, good pubs and bars. There's one that's quite recent on the way to town called Choose Yard, which is just basically a massive warehouse that they've just converted it into a pub, and it's got a really nice like outdoor area, and it's just proper nice.
No, whatever I play, and I get to DJ. I don't play any instruments, but whenever I get to play the forensic music out at the club, I like a good sound system. I like a good setup. I like a good stage. Hey, I'm the DJ. Where am I setting up? Oh, set up on that stage, plug into that sound system. It's going to sound great. All the lights, everything is going to sound great. I know I'm bragging on the Grand, but I've seen it in your videos. It looks like a venue where you go in and you're going to play a rock. People are going to show up waiting to see a rock show, and that is exactly what they're going to get when they go and see the forensics. It's hard to get people to get up out of their chairs, out of their seats, away from their big screen TVs, and get out to a show. And I appreciate that. And I want to tell my loyal listener to go ahead and support the local live artist, the indie artist. And if you're in Lancashire, hey, support the forensics for sure. But let's go back to the begin at the beginning. When did Liam pick up a guitar or know that he could sing? And hey, you formed in 2021, but before that, you were practicing your craft. Were you a band geek? What were you getting into when you were in school?
So I started playing piano at the age of 5. So I played that from being like 5 right up to being about 16. And then when I got to 16, I realized that I wanted to play a bit more of a cool instrument that I could kind of play with other people. So when I joined college at 17, one of my friends was like, we need a bass player for our band. But I'd only ever played piano, but apparently transitioning from piano to bass is quite an easy thing. Like once you've kind of got the fundamentals of music, kind of the theory and all that kind of stuff. So transitioned into playing bass. And then that's how me and Dan met. So Dan kind of joined that band like later on. That was our very first band, and that's kind of like how we got going together. And then that band split. I went off to uni, went to live in Liverpool, Liverpool uni, and I just really wanted to just keep going and having like a creative outlet. So weirdly enough, the kind of start of the forensics was actually me making like dance music, like electronic house music, because that was just an easy creative outlet that I could do on my own. But I just missed playing live. Like I really wanted to just play that type of music live. So I tried to incorporate a bit of the indie with a bit of the electronic, a bit like Kasabian type sound. And then eventually just like kind of picked up some band members on the way. And then all of a sudden we were kind of back into the indie sound a bit. So it's transitioned and morphed and kind of like snowballed from like a little idea and progressed onwards and stuff like that. But when I knew that when I started my own band, I didn't want to play bass. I wanted to sing and I wanted to write songs, and I wanted to play rhythm guitar whilst I was doing it because that had always interested me. So I thought it was a good time to start doing that, and then the forensics was born out of that really. So out of a solo project. So it was a bit of a weird way of getting around to it, but we got there in the end, so that's all that matters.
Now, Liam, it looks good when a lead singer is holding a guitar, whether they're actually playing that guitar, because a lot of times they'll have the guitar slung over their backs. Elvis Presley, he used to sling the guitar sometimes over his back. It was just kind of something to hold while you're singing. And for people that can do both, it amazes me. To sing is one thing, to play guitar well is another. But you started off as a pianist, and pianist seems to be like the entry drug to music. You get to learn all the chords, you get to learn how to read the music, and you can pretty much pick up almost any instrument. This is just what I've heard. I've picked up the guitar. I play 3 chords. I think I have 2 fingers that actually work, and I'm nothing that I would want to take on stage. But if I was ever to sing, I would want to be holding a guitar or playing an instrument at the same time. Now, let me talk to Daniel, the octopus of the band. Drumming, gotta be the hardest thing I've ever watched, I've ever seen. It's one thing to play the 12 chords on a guitar, but the 2 hands, but you got to have both feet involved in this. Tell me, were you the kid in the back of the classroom that was banging on their desk with a pencil and annoying the whole class to no end, or were you that guy that was banging with your hands and your feet, and people were going, "Hey, you got rhythm, son"? Tell me about it, Daniel.
I actually learned piano first when I was 5 as well, the same as Liam. And then I can't remember when it happened. I think when I was like 12, 13, I think I broke my wrist or something, and it hurt too much to play piano again. So I was just like, I don't want to do it anymore. But the person I learned piano with, they had a drum kit in the same room, and every time I was playing, I kept on looking at the kit. It was almost like calling out to me, like play me. And I was like, that is quite interesting. I want to see what I can do with that. And for some reason, playing drums didn't hurt my wrist, but playing piano did. So I started playing drums when I was about 14, I think it was. And haven't looked back since, and just been constantly playing. But no, in answer to your question about was I the guy who just kept on tapping, not so much when I was a kid, but more when I was in college at like 17, 18. I think because then I was like 4 or 5 years in and proper, right, yeah, I'm okay at this, I want to see what I can do. And there'd be like some songs that I listened to, and I want to work it out. And I'd just tap on whenever instead of doing college work, I was just tapping, trying to work out the song I was listening to, and like a certain feeling. It probably did annoy people, but I don't really care, to be honest.
Hey, you both started out with piano. That gives you a good base in music. It gives you the rhythm, the chord progression, I guess were you studying some theory back then? And you said you went to university. What were you wanting to study? What did you want to be when you grew up, Daniel?
I didn't go to uni.
Okay.
I've never really grown up wanting to be something. I played football. I was like, oh yeah, I'd like to be a footballer. But I think every kid has that, who's into football. And then I think it was actually, a proper job. I've never really thought about what I wanted to do. I still don't really know what I want to do. I'm in this line of work now, but it's a good job. I do enjoy it, but it's not something I thought I'd ever do or want to do. But I went to see a gig. I went to see Catfish and the Bottlemen in 2016, headlining Liverpool Sound City, I think it was. And just watching them and just getting absolutely blown away by what I was hearing and what I was seeing. I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to play drums, and I've just kept on going. I know a little bit of theory, but I've never done any exams or anything like that. For me, I found that as it was more becoming work and schoolwork, and I wanted to get away with that and have a bit of fun. That's just my personal preference. I'm not saying people shouldn't do the grades or anything like that, but yeah, that's what I liked and kicked on ever since.
Well, one of the schools of thought is with all the technology out there, with the entirety of human knowledge in your pocket. If you don't know the answer to the question, you look it up, and 5 seconds later, less than 1 minute later, you have the answer to that question. So people are trying to figure out whether university is even an option anymore. Yes, we need scientists. Yes, we need doctors. Please, by all means, learn your maths, learn your science, go do biology, go save the world. But for a lot of the people, you can learn most of this stuff watching a YouTube video or looking it up on Google if you have any questions. I did college a bunch of times. I learned not much stuck. I went to communications, learned some broadcasting. Went to firefighting school, learned some of that. Went to EMT school, got some medical knowledge. I have just enough medical knowledge to where I'm a danger to myself and society, which is probably not good. I'm glad I don't practice medicine. I'm glad that I get to speak into mics and talk to folks like you. But Liam, let's go back to you. When you were playing, did you grow up and want to be something else? And I want to know from both of you if your parents or your family were trying to steer you in a direction, because the life of a musician, starving artist, are two words that go together. But I tell people when I've been in the entertainment business since 1986 is when I first got my first paying gig. The money can be good, but the work is not steady. It's nice to have a day job. Liam, tell me about you. Does your family appreciate what you do, or did they always? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so none of my family are really musical in terms of like my parents and things like that. So, but my mum was always kind of quite keen on me learning an instrument, or I think she wanted me to have like a skill that was a little bit different, that I could kind of like have forever. And she's a big music fan herself. She's really into like Motown music, Northern Soul, things like that. So that's like a big passion for her. So I think when I was younger, if she could get me into playing an instrument, like that was a goal for her. So initially wanting me to kind of play piano and things like that, but I think as I've got older, like she appreciates now that I obviously enjoy playing guitar and singing and being in a band, and she's a big fan. She's a big fan of the band and big fan of what we do. So yeah, very supportive.
Well, growing up at a certain time back, I guess I'm old enough to be your father, so I'm gonna guess that your mother is probably either my age or a little younger. But we were taught when we were kids that there's two halves of your brain. So yes, you have to learn your math and your science, but you also have to play an instrument or draw, maybe take up some art, draw some pictures to work the other half of your brain. I don't know what the school of thought is now. That was drilled into my head at an early age. I know that there's times when people have the both halves of their brain separated and they're able to excel at certain things, or there's people that live with half a brain. Maybe I'm one of those. It's possible, but we'll get into that later. Who knew that I was going to be talking about brains when I'm talking to the forensics? But I'm interested in how people started. And notice that we're not playing music, and I don't want you to play music. I did get serenaded by Liam a little bit. He hummed to me while we were waiting for Dan, and before the podcast started. But I appreciate that I'm getting to know the beginnings of the begin. And you're talking about your other band members as well. Well, Dan, give shout outs to the other. I guess we got Rob, the bassist. But tell me about the other band member that couldn't make it because, work got in the way, life got in the way. You need to have a day job so you have a steady gig that affords you to do the night job and rock the house and play for the people. But, give shout outs to the people that aren't on the podcast right now.
So you got Jordan, our lead guitarist. Shout out to him. He's a funny guy. But he's a very creative. He's great at what he does. The way he thinks behind like guitar, I think it's quite a unique way. I don't hang around with a lot of guitarists other than Jordan and Liam, but I think the way that Jordan thinks is just like quite unique. And yeah, good asset to have. And Paul as well, who'll be working his shift at M&S Cafe. Again, bassist, great at what he does, and great bunch of lads.
Well, put that on the walking tour, the What Makes You Famous walking tour. Head to the M&S Cafe and get yourself some cafeteria stuff. I'm guessing it's food and maybe coffee, right?
Yeah,
Fantastic. All right, well, let's go into the musicianship of it. Liam, I'm going to guess that you're the songwriter. You told me briefly that you're the singer-songwriter. Are you the primary songwriter? And when you're playing, I didn't recognize a lot of the music as, it looks like it's all original. When you're playing out live, are you playing all your original music? Made of Gold, Sail Away, Good as Dead, No Place Like Home, Don't Let Me Down. All these songs, Cut Deep, I guess that's the first one out there, Lucky Man. Are these songs all written by you, Liam, or is it a collaborative effort?
So the main idea, I think, for most of the songs tends to come from like you sitting down and playing, just playing with an acoustic and just singing over the top of it. And then that it always just starts as a little idea that then gets brought into the band scenario, and then the guys and write their own parts around that. So it is more of a collaborative effort, I think, than it like sounds. I think people tend to think that, like, when I say I'm the songwriter, that it's like it's all me, but it's definitely not. It's definitely like a 4-way effort, because I can't play drums at all, so I'm relying on Dan to provide the drums. And Paul's an exceptional bass player. He's way better than me, and Jordan's lead guitar stuff is far out from what I could do. So I rely on those guys and their skill set and their expertise to kind of make the song complete, because otherwise the song is just me on an acoustic, really. So it's just them providing kind of those elements to it. But we play a lot of our own music. We tend to drop a cover in there every now and then, just to kind of give a nod to the music that we enjoy and the music we listen to and the bands that we like and things like that. But yeah, we tend to, when we do our gigs, we play pretty much 99% of our own music, because we want to kind of be an export of like the songs that we make. I think we want to kind of put across an authentic version of ourselves, and this is the songs that we write and we make together, and this is our, like, a showcase of our musicianship, basically. And I think with a cover, you're just kind of copying what other people do, but we want to kind of just put across kind of this is what we can do, basically. So yeah, that's it.
Well, you're very diplomatic in the way that you say that you bring an idea to the band. Yes, of course, to flesh it out, you have to have your bandmates. You could be a solo guitarist. You could go and busk and be that one guy in the back of the bar that's playing the music, or on the streets with a hat that's collecting some dinner money. But you have bandmates. You have people that you could bounce ideas off. And I'm just getting this now. I know my loyal listener is going to be saying, "There's a John, there's a Paul, and there's 4 men, 4 good-looking, handsome men from England." Because we put that whole island into one, kind of like people think of Africa as one place, even though there's many different places within that continent. We think of England as one giant place, but we know that the north and the south and the coasts are different places. But you're 4 people from 4 young men from Lancashire, UK. You have a John, you have a Paul. It's starting to feel like another band that came out of the UK and Liverpool, maybe. You have a Liam. I know Liam Gallagher is out there too. You share names, and people are gonna. I know I'm not the only one that has put this together. Has anyone else put together? Do you have, names that are similar, but your styles are different? It's just. Has anybody else made mention of that?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of like northern English bands where they have a lead singer called Liam, so I'm in good company there, I think. And I think Paul being a bass player, I think, because obviously there's the Paul McCartney link there, and I'm sure you'd give Paul McCartney a run for his money as well on bass, to be honest. But I don't know if I'm up to the level of Liam Gallagher yet, to be fair. But one day maybe we'll get there.
Hey, what was it that they said? They said at one point they were bigger than the Beatles, didn't they? Isn't that a famous quote?
Yeah.
That nearly got him canceled before canceled was a thing. What? You're bigger than the Beatles? Bigger than the Beatles? And famously, was it John that said, we're bigger than Jesus?
Yeah, John Lennon. Yeah. Said we're bigger than Jesus.
Yeah, you had to make sure that I was talking about the John Lennon, not the John in your band. You had no delusions of grandeur. But you should, man. You, like I said before, you gel so well. You sound like a band that I want to get up out of my chair and go and see. All right. Well, I mean, it's so much fun getting to know the band behind the music. Daniel, give me some. You said you played football. Do you still play football? Are you still an athlete of sorts? I mean, you have to be some kind of an athlete to play the drums, to make sure that your arms and your legs work in some kind of coordination. And Daniel, have you ever thought about changing your name to Ringo?
So I used to play football up until I was about 18, and then I just stopped. It was just taking up too much of my time. I used to practice football probably like 4 or 5 times a week and then play a game on a Sunday. But then I just the pub was more appealing than playing football every day for me. So, but no, I played the odd like 5-a-side charity tournament, something like that, with work and like with friends and stuff like that. But no, I'm more of a passionate watcher of football now than more of an interactive side. I've got a cousin who is doing really well in coaching professional football. But, you know, football is quite big, obviously in England, but in our family, like many other families in England, they have a very good connection with football. And, you know, I go watch my local team, Preston North End. I've got a season ticket every time they're playing at home. I try to go to a few away games as well. But yeah, no, it's good. But Liam is still playing football now. He's doing it for a really good cause.
Oh, watching football for me, I mean, yeah, all I can do is watch. The last time I played football, I guess here we call it soccer. I was not even a teenager, probably 11 or 12 years old when I was playing with Little League and with the Pee-wees and kicking the ball around. Not really, I guess we were doing some scoring. Back then, we did play to win. We played, but I guess there's a lot of participation trophies. Should I even get into that? Should I get into the politics of participation trophies? You have to play to win. You need to play to succeed. And that's how it trains you to be a member of society. You can't play for a participation trophy. But hey, that's just my view. That's how I was raised. Don't play to get a ribbon. Play to get that big trophy. You want to win. You want to excel. You want to be good at what you do. And you find what you're good at. You're found that you're good at playing the drums. Liam found that he was good at singing and playing guitar and managing the band and writing all the music and, telling you all what to do. And, he had to be the den father. And look, I know I'm putting too much on Liam. You're a collaborative effort. You're a group effort. I'm sure you all have equal voices as you take this endeavor, the Forensics. Well, tell me about the Forensics. Who came up with that band? There's other bands named the Forensics. So just in this social media world that we live in, to try to Google something, and I know it's the Forensics, it's just Forensics Band is probably the best way to Google your band. But even if you put the Forensics in, you can end up having doctors join in on that Google search. How do you? Who came up with Forensics and why? Are one of your family members in the medical field? Are they Quincy's? Are they medical examiners? Maybe.
No. So we were brainstorming a name because, like I say, the band started as a solo project, and we wanted a name that kind of made it sound like we were a band rather than just kind of like a solo person and then a band behind it. And we were brainstorming a name for ages, and nothing seemed to just sit right. Like whenever you wrote the name down and looked at it, everything just didn't seem to look or feel right. And then the name, I don't really know where the name came from. It was just a snowball idea that came out of the discussion we were having, and we all just kind of looked at it and was like, that feels like a standout name you could kind of like make a brand into. And then we were kind of snowballing some ideas like, okay, how would we translate that across if we wanted to then turn it into like a brand that was more than just, you know, a band really. And then we came up with like, we have a logo, which is like a thumbprint.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, right, you know, I've never seen a logo that's a thumbprint before. And like, what does a thumbprint represent? And it's like, everybody has their own individual fingerprint. Like your fingerprint is unique to you. So it was like, well, the fingerprint to us is like, that's unique to us, and people can, you know, every time you listen to the Forensics and you think of the fingerprint, you think like it's everyone's individual experience with the band. Like no two people have the same experience when they're listening to our music, and that's kind of where it came from. But people have asked us all the time, like, where did it come from? Are you into like murder documentaries and crime documentaries? Is that where it comes from? And it's not, and it's not that much of an interesting story, unfortunately. But it's but yeah, it just seemed to fit, and we just ran with it really. So that's where it came from.
Well, I've been making some TikTok videos, and I've been delving into the true crime as well. And my wife, she's so into she had a fork in the road when she was growing up. She wanted to be a medical examiner. In fact, her email is Quincy. So it's one of the famous doctor shows where a medical examiner was featured. So you know, we've been very interested in that, and you know, true crime is so big. You know, it's fascinating. Going over, I mean, because of, hey, look, some of those crimes are gruesome, but just it's fascinating on what the human person can do. You know, family annihilators and just people that snap and become that. But you know, what were the other names that you were kicking around that this band could have been named? Do you remember some of them? Were any of them funny or what?
I remember one being the Summertones, but that's too happy for the kind of music that we create. It just doesn't fit. But no, I don't. I think we probably brainstormed about 50 names, but I can't think of any. They obviously weren't that good because I can't remember them. So yeah. So I think the Forensics was the right choice.
I mean, we mentioned the Beatles, they spelled Beatles with the drum beat. BEAT, and I guess one of the funniest ones was the Bare Naked Ladies, and that looks good on a marquee. If you have Bare Naked Ladies up there, people are going to be rolling in for different reasons. Oh, it's a band. Oh, okay, I was here for another reason. But you know, if people go into the Forensics, you may get if you happen to play at a hotel, you may get that conference of doctors that kind of roll in. Maybe you're playing in the A room, and the doctors are supposed to be in the B room, and they may roam in there because they think, oh, the Forensics, this must be a lecture. We'll go in. And then they notice all the lights. Will they stay for the music, or will they quickly run away because you're just too hard rock?
Well, we'll lock the doors so they don't have that option.
That is correct. Now, you said you gave up uni. You said, I don't want to go to university because the pub was calling. That seemed to be better. Do we have to have an intervention, Daniel? Is there a problem? Are you spending too much time in pubs, not playing music, maybe sitting and chatting with over a pint? Tell me about your experience at the pubs.
No, I think we're all good. It's all under control. Yeah, it's, to be fair, the pub's a good place to mingle, and you know, like my mates, just if we can't make solid plans, it's like, well, do you have like half an hour, just have a sit down, have a pint at the pub, and have a catch up, and that's what we do. But no, it's good. It's good to like get sound with the owners or the main bar manager and say, I notice you've got a playlist on. Would you mind? I'm in this band. Would you mind giving us a listen and, you know, putting us on the playlist. If it obviously one that suits the vibe, not like one that just plays like classical music and then, oh yeah, put us on. But no, I didn't go to uni because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I didn't want my parents to spend that much money on me for me to go into something half-heartedly. Because, you know, it's when I went, it was my time to go to uni. It was $9,000 a year. I don't know how much it is now. It might be more. So it's a lot of money to spend on something that I might not want to do or I can't be asked doing. So yeah, no, but the pub is nice. The pub is a lovely place to go to.
Okay, well, you can give shout outs to the pub that you're going to, but you kind of alluded to when it was your turn to go to uni. Do you have brothers and sisters, siblings that went to university, that went a different route?
So I have an older sister who actually had a few years off before she didn't know what she wanted to do, but she definitely didn't want to go into like a 9-to-5 job or like a retail job. So she went traveling for a few years, and then she realised she was really good at doing, you know, makeup and prosthetic stuff. And I think she was like, well, is there any way I can do that professionally? And then she found a uni course in Birmingham that she went to. And then after 3 years of that, she graduated and got a master's doing like makeup and prosthetics in a place called Falmouth in Cornwall, which actually one of the main people around it was one of the chief like prosthetic designers for Doctor Who. And then now she's next month, I think she passed that master's degree, and next month she is now going to be moving to Cardiff to work for the BBC. So like, but you know, that's a plan that she works around something that she definitely wanted to do, and that's what I mean. Like, she realised that's absolutely what she wanted to do, whereas I was like, well, I don't really know what I want to do, so I'm not going to go, that kind of thing.
Well, some of the most interesting people that I knew in their 20s didn't know what they wanted to do. And the most interesting people that I know in their 40s still don't know what they want to do. But that it looks like your sister found a path and then went all the way. Wow, that's fantastic. When you said hair and prosthetics, my little sister and my daughter, they're both in the like beauty salon, beauty stylists. So that's where I was thinking you were going, but you went, she went all the way. Hey, good on her. Fantastic.
She actually did us a favour with, we recently went on a photo shoot, and she made us some, like a severed arm and severed fingers and that for like, to make like a crime scene and stuff like that. And it's scary how realistic they are, you know what I mean? And the shoot was in Manchester, and we're like, oh, how are we going to get there? It's like, oh, should we get the train? It's like, I don't think it's a good idea, me getting the train with a chopped up arm and chopped up fingers that look so realistic, walking in like a plastic bag. So no, but she's really good at what she does.
Well, in this time of CGI, to have practical effects, I do appreciate watching a film or a TV show that has a monster that might be a puppet, and maybe it doesn't look as realistic as what a computer effect can do, but I do appreciate that. My wife and I, we watch movies that are kind of off the beaten path because we've seen all of the major blockbusters already, but we have all these streaming options, and sometimes they feed us on algorithm all these movies that are kind of B movies that have practical effects, and man, I appreciate them. I put a thumbs up on them every time. So, Liam, same thing. Do you have siblings that have done gone different paths, or are you the only child?
Yeah, so I don't have any siblings. I'm the only child. So a lot of people, when in terms of my friends and things like that, they often tell me they can tell I'm the only child. So it must have had a bit of an effect on me. I think that maybe that's why I ended up being the lead singer, because I think. People tell me that maybe being an only child means that I like the attention being just on me, but I'm not so sure.
No, it's nice. Like I said, I have a little sister. She's 20 years my junior, so she kind of grew up as an only child. So she had the experience of my mother on her own, and I had, a brother and a stepsister growing up. So it's nice to have siblings, but then it's nice to have the full attention of your parents. They can put all their dreams, all their goals, all their effort into you. So, I guess there's two schools of thought. Bill Cosby, and I know he's a controversial person now, but one of his comedy records was how many of you are an only child, and if you're an only child, your parents weren't real parents. You have to have two children so you can have one that says, "I didn't do it. No, it wasn't me. I didn't do it." If you're an only child, they know it was you. You did it. You're the cause of the certain problem that happened. But all right, I'm using this new interface, and I think we're running out of time. But I'm glad that we got a little base idea of who the Forensics are and how you came together in 2021. But you had an original bass player, but you tossed him to the curb. Did he just go off and do his own thing? Is he still playing bass by himself in a bathroom somewhere? And you got the new bass player, the Paul. But tell me about that 2021 coming together and how this band has evolved since then.
Yeah, I think we were, like I say, we started as a solo project and we were all looking really to join a band. And have that kind of like that group feeling of all being together and bouncing ideas off each other and working for each other. So it was quite natural, to be honest. It felt really easy. We were all friends, and we're all still friends. So it kind of that was quite an easy process. We swapped our bass player out. I think he couldn't commit the time commitment to the band, and that was it's never an easy conversation. It's not one you really want to have, especially someone that you're friends with, but it was kind of for the best thing for the band, really, and we had to make that decision. And I think people think that like being in the music industry and being in a band and stuff, it's kind of like it's not real work, or it's a bit easy, but you do have to make difficult decisions. And yeah, we've just grown from there, really. We're all trying to kind of lift each other up, support each other, and kind of work on our strengths, work on our weaknesses, and and progress as far as we can in what is quite a difficult industry. So yeah, that's where we've got to, and we're really happy with kind of where the band's going, the direction that we're going in, the effort that we're all putting in for each other. So yeah, we're happy with where we're headed, I think.
Well, it's nice that you all live in the same area. There's a lot of bands that don't live in the same towns or even in the same countries. How do you get those people together to play live shows? They're relegated to studio musicians. They end up making a lot of records, but with this internet to where they can play all their parts separately, and then an engineer will put them all together. But who's in charge of the engineering? Daniel, give me the idea of who's in charge of putting all this music together, and where can people find the music that you've put out?
Every time we record, we go with someone who we're dead close mates with, called Tom. When we go into the studio to record, he's the engineer and the producer behind it, and he's a dead lovely guy. And I think he recorded with Liam's first solo stuff when it was all electronic. But we go into the studio with the foundation's there, what we want to do, and then he just amplifies it, essentially. We're on music-wise, we can find it on all streaming platforms, so like Spotify, Apple Music. I don't really know what else there is, but we've got a new single coming out next week, called Maxine, which has been produced again by Tom. So a pre-save and a follow on social media platforms will be absolutely lovely.
Yeah, like I said, looking up Forensics Band, I found your Instagram, your YouTube, your Spotify, and I found your personal Facebook page, Daniel. So I do have that, and I'll put that in the show notes, and that'll get people started. Is there a website, or where's the best place to find you, to get a hold of you?
There's no website at the moment. We kind of want to do it proper if we're going to do a website. They cost a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
But probably the best, you've got Instagram, TikTok, and Spotify, probably the top three, I'd say, for us. We are active on Twitter, but say our main three hubs are those three: TikTok, Instagram, and Spotify.
Very good. All right, Daniel. And Daniel, I want you to give some shout outs. And as we wind this thing down, I know I don't want this to be the last time that we talk. You've given people an idea of who you are, where you started, and where you are right now. I mean, in the future, are you going to be going around the world, or you want to stay close to home, Lancashire? You could be, there's two different ways you could be in a band. You could be a world sensation, world traveling band, which is hard on four guys coming together and being in a certain place at a certain time, traveling together. Or you could be, the band that plays in Lancashire and stays close to home. You could still make a living doing either one. It depends on how, much monetarily and how much you want your body to be dedicated to this. Are you wanting to be a touring band, or do you want to stay close to home?
Well, for me, I'd absolutely love to travel the world with a band. I think that's the dream, innit? I love traveling in general, like going to places. I'd probably go on holiday too many times. But to be able to do that with the band, to travel the world with the band and play, doing what I do best in front of new people all the time, then that's by far and away the dream.
Yeah, I've never been to Europe. I've never been out of these United States, and I know that there's lots to see in the United States. But if you go to Europe, I mean, the pictures that I've seen, the movies that I've seen, the travel logs that I've seen, there's so much ancient flavor. People have been around for a long time doing a lot of things. Tell me, Liam, do you want to go all around the world with your music, or do you want to stay close to home?
Yeah, definitely. I think going around the world, like Dan said, is the ultimate goal. I think unfortunately it's a lot harder nowadays. I think to be able to get there, but it's a dream that we all share and we're all striving to achieve at one day. So yeah, I think, and from being, like you say, being in Europe and different countries, they're beautiful places, and the people there are brilliant, and you can kind of imagine that, like, I like to imagine that our music would be well received there. So I think, we've been and watched, live gigs and concerts abroad, and the fans are always incredible there. So yeah, I think to be on that stage in front of those people in different countries, I think would be an amazing feeling.
Yeah, I'm watching a movie last night, and all the characters are just walking around normally, just not doing much. And there's the Colosseum right behind them in Rome. And I'm going, they're just, walking by, not even looking at all that majesty. Wow, that is the Colosseum right there. For me, I guess you get desensitized to it if you live in that country. Living in Lancashire, you probably have things in there that, a bloke like me heading over there, I would look at it and go, wow, that is amazing. That is a fantastic. Oh, that's just, that castle over there, where that knight was living, and, it's no big deal. No, for me, wow, this is amazing. England has such history. The Britons and the Romans that came there, and oh my goodness, so much history. In just the spot that you're in, the piece of ground that you happen to be been born in. But all right, I do want to wind this thing down. I could talk to you all day, but I do want to wind this thing down. I'm mindful of your time, and plus this, like I said, this new software gives me only a certain amount of time. I'll figure it out. But I want you to give some shout outs, and then give the last words for the people. And then, Daniel, you're going to do the same thing. So, Liam, give some shout outs to some people that have helped you along the way, and then give me some last words for the people to go home with. And then, Daniel, you'll come up right after that.
Yeah, I think I want to just shout out friends, family. They know who they are. They've been our number one supporters and always supporting us and pushing us forward and believing in us. And I think that's the main thing. I think when you're trying to pursue something like music, you just need that support and belief to keep going, really. And everyone that's come and watched us perform live, and people who listen on Spotify and on streaming platforms and YouTube and all that kind of stuff. We see all the comments that people post, and we look at our data, so we see, there's an app called Spotify for Artists, and you can see your metrics, and when you see people from like all across the world listening to the music that you've never spoke to before, it's an amazing feeling. So big shout out to all those people that have done that and just found us in the kind of ever growing web that is like the internet. We appreciate every single one of you. So yeah, big shout out to all of those people.
And give me a mantra. Give me some words to live by. Something you heard a long time ago, or whatever pops into your head. Liam, give me the last words for the people on your end.
To quote a hero of mine, John Cena, I think, just never give up.
All right, Daniel, give me some shout outs and then last words for the people, and we'll get up out of here.
So yeah, shout out again, like Liam, friends, family, especially my mate Josh, who's literally come to every single gig we've been to, never mind where it is in the country. So it's massively appreciated from him. Yeah, shout out to obviously Big G for having us on today. It's massively helped what he's doing for us right now. I want to shout out Adam Darwin, my drum teacher. Probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for him, so I'd like to thank him. And yeah, again, like everyone who comes to the gigs and buys a bit of merch, streams a song, it's it doesn't go unnoticed. So yeah, thank you very much.
And any words of wisdom to live by? The last words for the people, Daniel?
I can't really think of anything, so I'm just going to go with live, last, love.
Well, there you have it, party people. Daniel and Liam and Daniel from the Forensics. That's 2 out of the 4 bandmates. John and Paul, they're hard-working fellas. They had to get out there and make some money. You got to have that day job that affords you the ability to do that night job. It's tough. It's tough to break off and bet on yourself and try to make a foray and do this music full time. I did it for a while. I did the DJ thing full time for a while, but even so, I was working on the radio. So is that a day job? Probably. I was doing the DJ thing 3 or 4 nights a week, and that was fun. But it's nice to have a day job that here in this country, you have to have a day job to afford you some insurance. We are probably one of the few countries in the whole world that doesn't have socialized medicine, but that's a whole nother thing. There's things on my mind, and I'm glad that I got the chance to bounce some ideas off of Liam and Daniel of the Forensics Band. So look them up, Forensics Band. They don't have a website right now, but looks like Instagram, and of course, stream their music on Spotify. And I'll put the Twitter there. The YouTube has it really showcases what they can do. So if you're a venue and you want to take them all around the world, I encourage you to check out the YouTube and see what they can do. They could bring that to your corner of the planet. Yeah. So bring the Forensics all around the world. All around the world. Yeah. That's what they're aspiring to do. And they're young enough and bold enough and strong enough to get out there and rock the house in your corner of the planet. All right, that's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. Thank you so much, Liam and Daniel of the Forensics, for being on the What Makes You Famous podcast. Now, if you, my loyal listener, if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email keysdan@aol.com. That's it for me. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.